Hi everybody, I'd like to welcome you to our reading information video for 2019. The purpose of this video is for us to share with you some strategies that you can use to support your children at home, but also to just let you know a little bit about how reading works at Aranda, and to provide you with an opportunity to get a bit of an insight into the thinking that goes behind the teaching of our reading program. We acknowledge that you as parents are probably the biggest asset we have in teaching your children to read, and we really rely on you to back up what we teach at school. We rely on you to back up that at home and really support us in the reading process. I would like to introduce you to Jessie Wilson, Ryan Ferdinand,
Hello.
Mel Hill and Rebecca Lenehan, who are all teachers in the junior school. Okay, enjoy.
Alrighty, so we suggest that you read a wide range of different texts, and for the home reading program, we like the children to read easy, familiar texts to help build their confidence. In kindy, we do this as part of morning reading, but across K-2, we do it as the home readers. And we like them to just have them so that they can build that confidence and really start to believe that they are readers. We also then have them read more challenging texts in class with a teacher support, and then they're still being challenged and being exposed to more difficult texts. It's important to read a wide range of quality texts. So good ones are repetitive, and then they start to pick up the structure of the text, and then they build confidence in themselves and can predict what's going to come next. Also texts with continuous characters, and they start to really like to get to know the characters in different stories and see what they're doing. Rhyming words also helps them to be confident in reading the books. Or even if your child's really a bit reluctant to read the text, pick a book that has no words in it, and then they can make up the story and tell it themselves. Or they can even just do this with any books, really, if that works for them. After reading, it's a great idea to discuss the text, so maybe the favourite characters or favourite part, and you can also work on practicing retelling the story. A big part of reading at school involves doing a reading assessment. And when we do this, we look for accuracy in their reading and also that they can retell. So again, that's looking at characters, settings, and telling the events in order. And then also their comprehension, and they'll have to answer a range of questions from the more simple ones to more difficult. And your child will need to be able to do all three of these before they move on to the next level.
In the junior years, we like to use a range of strategies to help the children to decode words that they're unfamiliar with and really become confident with reading books. So one of the strategies we do encourage, so it's anywhere from kindy to year 2, is we use characters and little animals with it to help the kids remember them a bit easier. So one of them is Eagle Eye. So it's using the pictures to help interpret what's happening in the story. If they can't figure out a word, they can look at the picture to get some meaning, and maybe that might give them a clue to figure out the word. We also have Lips the Fish, so that's getting their mouth ready. So they're looking at that beginning initial sound of a word and getting ready for it. Another one we use is Stretchy Snake. So that's stretching out words. So it might be ship. So it's sh, it, p. So they're really trying to stretch it out and hear all the sounds in the word. Another one is Chunky Monkey. So that's where when they come to a word, they chunk it up into familiar sections or blends or sounds that they already know and try and piece together the word from that. Another one is just try and line, just give it a go. Reread the sentence. Try and make sure that it makes sense to them in their head and when they say it out loud. If it doesn't, go back and reread. We have Skippy the Frog next. So that's if they get to a tricky word and they've tried other strategies and it's just not working, it's okay. Skip the word, go on, reread. But the thing is, you've got to make sure they come back and reread it and put the correct word back into the sentence. Flippy the Dolphin. So this is where they've got to flip the vowel sound. So they might have the word top, for example, and the O is the vowel. So they might be saying it as T-O-P and making the vowel say its name O. Doesn't work. So then they have to go back and flip the vowel, make it say O. And if they put T-O in it, it makes it say top. And last one is Careful Caterpillar. So carefully read the whole word. Think about all the parts within the word, all the blends, all the sounds it makes, and just checking that it makes sense within the context of the sentence. After you've read the story, you might like to ask them some basic literal questions about the story that they've just read, just to check their comprehension, make sure they're really taken in the story or the book or the passage of text so they understand it. So some of the questions you could ask, what is the main character? Who are they? What has happened after a certain event? What is the problem in the story? How is the problem solved? Yeah, just basic questions after.
So inferential questions encourage your child to think about the text on a deeper meaning. So there are questions like what might happen next. It's not in the story, but making your child think about, well, what could happen? What is the character feeling when a certain event in the text takes place? And then encouraging them to look at clues in the text as well to help them work that out. So not just guessing, but also using the text to think about it on a deeper level. Show me the part that makes you feel, so connecting on a personal level as well. So if there's a part that makes them feel sad, talking about that, why does it make them feel sad? If it makes them feel happy or excited, what part of the text helps on that side? And then one of the other things we look for is reading beyond the text, so making connections to their lives or to other things they've read. And this can be done by asking questions such as, what would you do in that situation? And getting the child to think about themselves as that character. Do you think the character should have? And why would the author use a particular word? There might be 3 or 4 words they can use in that sentence. Why would they use that word? Why does this word make the most sense in the text?
Okay, now on to those all-important parent tips I'm sure you've all been waiting for. So when you read for your child, it's important you sit side by side with your child and obviously away from distractions such as the television and maybe other siblings. It's important that you do enjoy reading with your child. We want to really foster that lifelong love of reading. And if it looks like you're interested in reading, then that role modeling will hopefully rub off on your child as well. When you are reading, try and move beyond just the sounding out. I know that's probably the main or the common strategy we use. So have a look at the visual literacy, look at the cues in the pictures, also look at the other words in the sentence as well. Repetition, it's a really good strategy for reading because that will develop that expression and the fluency which we're after as well, and most importantly, the confidence as well. Ask questions. It's really, reading's about meaning. There's no point reading if we don't understand what we've read. So to gauge the understanding of your child's comprehension, ask them questions. And we've already discussed literal questions and evaluative questions as well. Talk about interesting words and their meanings. And as we know, reading flows on into their writing as well. So to build their vocabulary, talk about words and maybe word families as well. Also, try and read different types of texts. I know from my years of experience, a lot of children like reading just information books, but it's also important that they read stories and novels as well. So a wide variety of both literary and factual text types. And finally, the 3 Ps, pause, prompt, and praise. Now, moving on to technology, there are a wide range of free iPad applications and also Google apps that you can use. We will have a handout, and you can also ask your classroom teacher for a list of those, which can also be really helpful, especially if your child responds to the screen.
Just a word of warning, if you go to the App Store, you'll see thousands of these apps.
Yep.
Many of them are American, and the pronunciation of words is with an American accent, so they're not actually that useful when you're thinking about a young child learning how to read. What you can do is look out for the Reading Egg series or any of the other Australian apps. They're actually really valuable, and they mirror the way that we also teach in Australian schools too. So just be a bit picky and try them out yourself before you give them to your child to try.
Okay, we'll be continuing the morning reading program in kindergarten, and we're doing this because when the kindy children come to school and they're first learning to read, it's really important for them to have that one-on-one time with the support of another adult. So it will continue to go from 9 a.m. till 9:10 in the morning, Monday to Thursday, and we don't do it on Fridays because we usually have an assembly on that day. So your child will take home 4 books each week. They get new books on a Monday morning and take home 1 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then take home all 4 of them on Friday to practice reading again over the weekend. And the idea of that extra practice over the weekend is that they really are confident with them by then, and they see themselves as a reader and they believe that they can do it. if you've already read with your child in the morning and you have the time to, please read with another child who's also in the class and doesn't have an adult there to read with them. And I know it means a lot to the other children when they get to read with an adult as well. Yeah, and so the kindy team look forward to seeing you there.
Year 1 and 2 will still be taking home readers home. So they'll take 5 home each Monday, and you'll get to read them during the week, in the weeknights, and then can bring it back following Monday for a new set of books.
Great. One other thing that we've started this year, we're acknowledging that many of you are very busy in the evenings, and you do find it hard to read with your children at night. And mornings, when you're dropping your children off at school, it does represent a really valuable time. We've decided to open the library up to parents who are with a child from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. So you can do that every day. You can come into the library, choose some nice books, read in a quiet place, and then drop your child back off into the classroom. Something else that's happened this year that's really exciting is we're looking at goal setting in the areas of reading, writing and maths. So your child will have a reading goal. So that could be something to talk to them about over the coming weeks, and also watch out on Seesaw for information about the reading program.
Yeah,
great. Okay, thank you so much for listening. We hope you made it this far into the video. At Aranda, we do always welcome parents into the classrooms, and we welcome you if you have any questions to come talk to your classroom teacher. If you're after tips about how to support your child at home, drop in, make an appointment with the class teacher, or try and grab them after school or sometime before 9 o'clock is always handy. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.